Somewhere in the brush country of South Texas, a rancher steps out at dawn to check on his goats. The morning is still. Too still. Then he sees them. 6 animals laid out in the dust, each one drained of blood, each one bearing the same 2 puncture wounds on the neck. Not a sound, not a track he recognizes. Whatever did this came and went like smoke. Welcome to the legend of the Texas Chupacabra. The name itself tells you almost everything you need to know. Chupacabra, Spanish for goat sucker. A creature so specific in its appetite that the people who named it weren't describing a monster from mythology. They were describing something they believed was real. Something that had visited their livestock in the night and left behind only empty husks. Depending on who you ask, the Chupacabra is one of 2 very different-looking things. The first version, the classic, is a bipedal creature, roughly 4 to 5 feet tall, with large, alien-like eyes, a row of spines running down its back, and a reptilian or extraterrestrial appearance. Think of it as the Puerto Rican model. That version launched the modern legend. The Texas version is different. Stranger in some ways, because it's more physical, more present, more real. It tends to look like a 4-legged animal, somewhere between a coyote, a dog, and something that crawled out of a fever dream. It has coarse, patchy skin with little to no hair. It has an elongated snout, powerful hind legs, and an unsettling gait. People who've seen it describe a thing that moves wrong, not quite like any animal they've encountered before, and it leaves dead livestock in its wake. To understand the Texas Chupacabra, you have to go back to 1995, to a small town in Puerto Rico called Canovanas. That August, locals began discovering farm animals, goats, chickens, rabbits, drained of blood with no obvious signs of predation, no claw marks on the flesh, no evidence of a struggle, just those 2 small puncture holes. The killings spread, hundreds of animals over the following weeks. A local comedian, Silverio Perez, coined the name Chupacabras as a joke, but the name stuck with deadly seriousness. Witnesses began coming forward with sightings. A spiky, alien-looking biped, eyes like black mirrors. And then came the reports from the mainland. By 1996, sightings had spread to Florida, to California, to Texas. The legend crossed borders the way legends always do, riding on fear, on word of mouth, on that ancient human instinct that says, something is out there, and it means us harm. But Texas didn't just import the legend. Texas made it its own. There is something about the Texas landscape that feeds a creature like this. The long stretches of brush country, the cedar and mesquite, the limestone draws and dry creek beds of the hill country, the borderlands where the Rio Grande irons out a slow brown seam between 2 countries. This is old land, contested land, land that has always harbored secrets. Ranchers in Medina County, in Duval County, in Webb County near Laredo. For decades they have reported the same thing. Animals found dead, livestock drained, and occasionally, a glimpse of the thing itself, caught in a truck's headlights, slinked into the brush before it could be fully seen. The descriptions clustered. 4-legged, hairless, or nearly so. A long snout with prominent teeth, blue-gray or mottled skin. That strange, rocking gait, like its front legs were built for a different body than its hindquarters. One rancher outside of Cuero in DeWitt County described it this way. It moved like a greyhound, but low to the ground, and it had these knobby shoulder blades working hard. I have hunted this land my whole life. I have never seen anything move like that. No single event did more to put the Texas Chupacabra on the national map than what happened in Cuero, Texas, in 2007. Phyllis Canyon, was a rancher and former safari hunter with decades of experience identifying African wildlife. Over the course of several weeks, she found 26 of her chickens dead. Drained, she said, of blood. Then one morning, she found a carcass on the road near her property. It was hairless. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. She photographed it, preserved it, and brought it to the attention of wildlife researchers. The story exploded. News crews came to Cuero. The town briefly became the Chupacabra capital of America. DNA testing was eventually performed by Texas State University. The results came back. The animal was most likely a coyote. A coyote with extreme mange, a parasitic skin condition caused by mites that strips away fur and dramatically distorts the animal's appearance. Phyllis Canyon disputed the findings. She had seen mange before, she said. This was not mange. Whatever this thing was, it was not a coyote. And the killings stopped after the carcass was removed. The Cuero story captures everything that makes the Texas Chupacabra so compelling. A credible witness, a physical specimen, a scientific explanation, and a witness who still does not believe it. Wildlife biologists have a consistent explanation for the Texas Chupacabra. It is a coyote, fox, or dog suffering from severe sarcoptic mange. The mites burrow under the skin, cause intense itching, hair loss, and thickened, crusted skin. An animal in this state looks completely alien, nothing like the healthy version of its species. The elongated appearance, the visible spine, the strange coloring, all of it is consistent with advanced mange. As for the bloodless livestock, biologists point out that puncture wounds from small predators heal quickly and seal with blood. Small coyotes and foxes are opportunistic hunters that often go for the throat. And blood loss that appears total on the surface is rarely total at all. Most of it seeps into surrounding tissue, invisible to the naked eye. It is a clean explanation, a rational one. But here is the problem with rational explanations. They do not travel as far as the fear does, because there are reports that do not fit the mange coyote model. Reports of creatures too large. Reports of creatures moving on two legs, briefly, before dropping to four. Reports from experienced hunters, people who know what sick coyotes look like, who swear what they saw was something categorically different. You cannot dismiss every witness. You cannot dismiss generations of ranchers with the same experience, across the same terrain, over the same decades. The Chupacabra does not exist in a cultural vacuum. The borderlands of South Texas have always been rich with stories of things that cross between worlds. The brujo, the sorcerer, the nahual, the shapeshifter, La Llorona, wailing along creek beds, the lechuza, a witch who takes the form of an enormous owl. These traditions speak to something deep in the human need to explain the unexplainable, especially in places where the land is vast and the night comes in hard, and the nearest neighbor is 20 miles of scrub brush away. The Chupacabra slots into this tradition almost perfectly. It is a border creature in every sense. It exists at the edge of science and folklore. It walks between what we can prove and what we can only sense. And like all the best monsters, it is most dangerous not when it is seen, but when it is almost seen. Every American region has its cryptid. The Pacific Northwest has Bigfoot. Appalachia has the Mothman. The Rockies have the Skinwalker. But the Texas Chupacabra is different from all of them, because it has evidence. It has carcasses. It has DNA tests, however disputed. It has dead livestock with puncture wounds that can be measured. It is a legend with paperwork. That is a very Texas thing. Texas is a state that has never been satisfied with things being merely symbolic. The Chupacabra here is not a campfire story. It is a ranching problem. It is a livestock insurance question. It is something the county sheriff's office has actually been called about. And that is what makes it terrifying in a way that no horror movie monster can quite manage. Because the monster in a movie lives on a screen. The Texas Chupacabra might live 2 counties over. So what is it? Is it a sick coyote, driven mad by mites, desperate enough to attack livestock in the night? Is it some unknown predator, slipping through the cracks of a classification system that was built before we had cameras in every pocket? Is it something older, a thing that has always been in the brush, that the Spanish knew, that the Comanche knew, that every civilization that has ever tried to domesticate this land has encountered in the dark? The answer, honest and unsatisfying, is we do not know. What we know is this: somewhere in South Texas tonight, a rancher is checking the fence line. The cedar is black against a sky full of stars, and somewhere in the brush, something is moving. Whatever it is hungry.